Texas Southern against Mount St. Mary's in the 16 versus 16 playing game. That line is a pick 'em. The total's 133. And go.
So that line was 2 with the Fighting Johnny Joneses. So it's come down. A lot of people obviously like Dan Egglestad and the Mount St. Mary's group. Listen, to me, again, I think Texas Southern is just more talented. They got a ton of transfers. And I think their talent level – in a game like this where they're going to be geeked up, right? Like that – it's kind of the same thing with LSU. Like you don't know how some of these kids are going to prepare and if they're going to be ready. But I think in a game like this, I would go Texas Southern and take the talent.
I like Mount St. Mary's here. And I understand they have all that talent, but they are tough. They are physical. They're one of the best low-major defenses that you're going to find. They got a point guard named Damian Chonqui who can really get after it. He carried them through the NEC tournament. They have size inside, and they're one of like the few mid-majors that wins by trying to make games ugly. So I'm just going to bet on the team that's going to be physical, that's going to be tougher, and that's going to have the better point guard play.
I'll be right back. Give me 10 seconds.
That's it. There's the buzzer. There's the buzzer. All right.
That's the buzzer? I didn't know you were putting a buzzer on. Wow, look at you.
Yep. All right, so next one we got Drake versus Wichita State. Drake is laying 1.5. The total there is 141. That line is actually shifted almost, I think, 3.5 points now with the news that Tank Hemphill is going to be back. Darian DeVries is saying that he's going to be at 100%. I don't know if I fully buy that.
Of course you don't buy it. He broke his foot. Like, come on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just – Drake's lost 2 starters recently. Wichita's not great, but I feel like they're the clear favorite in this one. They're the clear – what did you say? It's down to what?
It's Drake's laying 1.5. So Wichita State's getting points.
I really like Wichita, man. Really.
Okay, so we're 2 out of 2 for being on the opposite side of the
You know why? You know why I like Wichita?
Why is that?
Poor Bear is back.
Oh yeah.
Poor Bear Chandler's back.
So I like Drake here for a couple reasons. One, I think that the point guard, what's his name, Joseph Yusufu, I'm pronouncing that right, has been really good in Roman Penn's absence. And I think that Wichita State's just a little overvalued. Everything is kind of based off of the fact that they got that win over Houston. Beyond that, they're 10-1 in close games. They won a couple of overtime games. They got blown out in a must-win against Cincinnati in the AAC tournament.
Buzzer. All right. That's it. All right. That's it. You couldn't even talk. You just dominated the whole minute.
No, you said you love Wichita State. I talked for 25 seconds on that one. All right, next up. Appalachian State is laying 3 points against Norfolk State. The total there is 133.5. Jeffrey, go.
Listen, I mean, to me, again, in a game like this, I would say Norfolk State's been there before, which gives them a little bit of an advantage. Robert Jones has done a good job with that team. They got a really good player, point guard, in Devontae Carter. He's kind of the guy who runs that team. Bryant can go for 30 on any given day. I don't have a great feel for this. I know Dustin Kearns has done an unbelievable job, and he was on the pod, so I guess I'll take Dustin Kearns and App State.
So I think that I would just take Norfolk State because of the points. I think that this, it's one of those things where it's kind of a pick 'em. I actually like the under here, though. Neither of these offenses are great. They both rank outside the top 200 nationally.
Yeah.
App State shoots a ton of threes, and they shoot 32% from 3. Norfolk State shoots it well. They don't shoot all that great from 3, and they don't give up a lot of fouls. But time to move on. Next up, UCLA, Michigan State. Michigan State's laying 2. The total is 135.5 there. Jeffrey, tell me why I shouldn't put all my chips in on Michigan State here.
Because they don't have a point guard. You can put some chips in, but don't put them all in on Michigan State. They don't have a point guard. So Tiger Campbell is the best point guard on the floor. And usually point guards are what determines the winner of a game like this. So, listen, I'm still going Tom Izzo at the end of the day, but I don't feel great about it. Like, I wouldn't put a lot of money on Michigan State over UCLA. I think it's a complete coin flip of a game. I'll go with the Spartans, but I don't feel great about it.
I actually, I like Michigan State here. I think that they win this game by double digits, but it's one of those things where I don't trust anything that Michigan State does at this point this season. I think they'll have the best player on the floor with Aaron Henry. UCLA has not been great defensively, and at the end of the day, I just want to trust a team that is coming out of the Big Ten over a team that's coming out of the Pac-12, whose best player tore his ACL. Boom. Just under the buzzer. All right, so the first game in the East would be Michigan against the playing game, so we're going to skip over that and move straight to the most controversial game of the first round, Jeffrey. LSU against the Bonnies. LSU's laying 2. That total is 144.5. What do you like there?
I flipped on it. I'm going LSU. Just because I feel like, honestly, the talent level is significant. These guys are going to be up to play. Javonte Smart, a couple of them have some experience winning in the NCAA tournament, including Javonte Smart. Watford's talented as hell. We know what Cam Thomas can do. I just think it's going to be too much for Mark Schmidt, who's a hell of a coach, to handle.
I lean the same way. The big thing with LSU that we've been saying all season long is, are they going to show up and ready to play? Are they going to be motivated? Are they going to be interested in trying to win? And I think that since it's the NCAA tournament, they're going to show up motivated to play. The X factor for me is going to be St. Bonnie's big man, Asuni. They don't really have any depth behind them. They basically play like 6 guys. And as good as he is defensively, if he gets into foul trouble, that's the kind of thing where it's like, well, I don't really know what they're going to do with the 5 spot there. So I'm with you. We agree on this one. LSU laying the 2 points. Boom. Just under the buzzer. All right, next up, Colorado laying 5. That totals 138 against Georgetown. Georgetown, the upstart Cinderella underdog Georgetown Hoyas. What do you like here?
Colorado. I mean, the point guard situation, McKinley Wright, I absolutely love. They got some veterans on that team. The Pac-12, they've just gone under the radar, and the Pac-12 hasn't been good, and we know that. But I don't think the Big East has been great either. I mean, this is Georgetown team that finished 8th in the league. They got some momentum, no doubt about it. I just think Colorado's got the better team, and I trust McKinley Wright in this one and Tad Boyle.
Yeah, it doesn't feel comfortable going against a team that just ran through their conference tournament the way that Georgetown ran through the conference tournament. Yeah. They're 10-4 since they came out of the pause that they had in January. But I think you're right. I think Colorado was the play here. What do we want out of teams in March? We want well-coached teams that can defend, that make free throws, and that have great point guard play. And that is exactly what Colorado is. And if you're telling me I can take that while also fading a team that only got hot in March in a league that is completely overrated, give me the Buffaloes.
Yep, I'm with you.
All right, next up. We have number 4 Florida State against number 13 UNC Greensboro and Wes Miller, another friend of the program. Florida State is laying 10.5. The total there is 145. Jeffrey, you got a good feel on this one?
I got to tell you, in this whole region, I have such a hard time figuring out who's going to come out of it. I don't love Florida State like most people, but I don't think Greensboro is going to beat them. I don't love Florida State, but I don't know if Colorado – I'm taking Colorado out of that part of the region. Not because I love Colorado. I just think that's a weak group of 4 teams. So I'm going to take Florida State here over Greensboro because I think the one strength Florida State has is defensively having big, strong guards, athletic guards to be able to throw at Isaiah Miller. And if you slow down Isaiah Miller, you beat Greensboro.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that this is kind of strength on strength. Like Greensboro wants to pressure you, try to force some turnovers, to go out and play aggressive, and I just don't think that's going to work against a team that is significantly more athletic than them. The other problem, Isaiah Miller, he's awesome. He's athletic. He averages 19 and 4, but he is 6 foot tall. And
he can't really shoot that well.
Yep. Boom. There it goes. Next up would be BYU against the playing game, so we'll talk about that later. So let's go to Texas, laying 8.5 against Abilene Christian. The line there is 139.5. Jeff, do you have a great feel there?
It's a hard one for me. You know my love for Joe Golding in the Abilene Christian program. He's done a great job with it. They can really, really, really guard. But, they haven't in the South. They haven't seen a team like Texas. So as close he is with Chris Beard, I don't think Chris Beard's going to be able to help him because Chris Beard can't give him Mac McClung. He can't give him some of the other players that he's got on his team that are at a high level to beat. Texas. So I'm taking Texas here. Texas, the hip team right now. I'm looking around like everybody's picking them now to go to the Final Four.
Well, we started that trend. So here's the thing about Abilene. They're very similar to like the old school Brad Underwood defenses, where they get out and they pressure, they overplay you, they force a nation's best turnovers on 26.7% of their opponent possessions. But a lot of that is because they're playing against Southland opponents and going up against a Texas team that has Matt Coleman and Andrew Jones and Courtney Ramey. I think this is a really bad matchup.
I would agree.
All right, next up, the UConn Huskies laying 3 against number 10 seed Maryland. That total is 130. Jeff, what do you like there?
UConn. I'll go UConn. That Morcell book night matchup is going to be awesome. Awesome. Yes. One of the best in the first round. And a lot of NBA guys are looking forward to that one as well. So I think book night, to me, as long as he doesn't have one of those nights, and by meaning one of those nights like a 3 for 15 shooting night, UConn's got enough around him that can pick up the slack, but he's got to have a good game against Morcell. I'm going to take UConn to cover there.
Yeah, I think that you're probably right. I don't feel great about it, but at the end of the day, I'm going to take the team that was playing their best. Like if UConn lost a 3-point fist fight in the semifinals of the Big East tournament against a team that was a number 5 seed, whereas Maryland has lost 3 of the last 4, including games to Penn State and Northwestern. I just don't trust the Terps. But I just this is the least comfortable I've been about taking UConn in a game in months since book night was gone. Next up, we have Alabama and Iona. Alabama's laying 16.5. That total is 147. Jeff, what do you like?
I'll take Rick Pitino to cover. They're not going to win, but man, like if there's anybody that can figure out a way to keep it close enough to cover, it's going to be Rick Pitino. So he'll muck it up. He'll muck it up enough. And, Alabama, you always wonder with Alabama, especially in this first game, are they going to come out just overconfident? They don't know who Rick Pitino is. They don't care who Rick Pitino is. Nate Oates does, and they'll prepare. But I feel like those Alabama players will come out a little bit flat, and Primo's not going to play in this game. So not that matters that much. I mean, Alabama's still got way more talent in its bench than Iona's got, among its starters. But I'll take Pitino to cover here.
No, it's going to be Alabama.
Okay.
Iona played one game that's ranked in the KenPom top 50 this season. That was against Seton Hall when they lost by 22. Alabama's got the nation's second best defense, and Iona fouls people at the highest rate in the country. Alabama makes 72% of their free throws. Take the Tide to cover.
All right.